everyone, and welcome back to OHKO, a Pokemon VGC podcast. LAIC is done, the back-to-back events is done, and only one more event left until we're on to our old but new regulation. My name is LebanonDon, joined here by my co-host Joe Brown, and to address the analyst picture selfie of us elephant room that's in the room, wow, I can't even talk. We're both feeling under the weather, so yeah, no cameras for today, so yeah, but
we're taking it easy. It's Thanksgiving here in America. Everyone's relaxing today, so we're also going to relax on the pod.
I like how you say relaxing as first off, I'm Canadian, so my Thanksgiving is done. Second, while you were talking, I muted to just cough my lungs out, but like
that's not very relaxing feeling for you. What do you guys like? Obviously, every different countries have Thanksgivings and different countries have different Independence Days, right? It's not just America, but like, is there unique quirks with a Canadian Thanksgiving? Like, do you guys also do turkeys and other things? Like, what is the norm for Canadian Thanksgiving?
Yeah, I mean, something about American Thanksgiving is there's always a football game, and obviously for Canada, we don't have that. So it's just about food. It's all the same foods, etc. We actually know how to cook turkey, so the turkey's awesome. I feel like
you guys have more turkeys than we do, I think.
We'll also just cook it better. Like, I don't know, like every person that I don't know, I grew up with this, and the turkey has always been amazing. And then I talk to American friends, and they always talk about the turkey maybe not being good or how they prefer ham. And I've attended an American Thanksgiving or two, and the turkey was kind of mid. So I think, yeah, the fact we can cook turkey has to be like the biggest major difference between Canadian and American Thanksgiving.
I had no idea, honestly, because I know someone in our Discord, somebody also brought up that they already celebrated their Thanksgiving because they were Canadian, and like I was thinking, I was like, man, do they have turkey? Like, and then also, is there a turkey Pokemon? Am I just dumb? Am I not thinking of a turkey Pokemon, or like has Game Freak not created a turkey Pokemon yet?
Well, according to Reddit, as of 9 years ago, why don't we have a turkey Pokemon?
See, they were onto something.
Can we get a turkey Pokemon, please?
And that was 9 years ago. We've had like 3 generations, and I don't think any. Yeah, I think I'm blanking. Yeah. I think Gen 10 turkey. He's gonna time to gobble for Game Freak.
You know what? Sure.
I like it. Sierra's caving. All right. See, that's how you're relaxing, because you're just gonna cave to my silly turkey narrative.
I just can't say what I want to say because it would come across as mean, even though it's not my intention.
Oh, okay.
But that's okay. That's okay. We have LAIC to talk about. We have our back-to-back events to talk about. So, yeah. First off to say, because last episode, we had just wrapped up Las Vegas. It was literally Las Vegas straight into Brazil. So there was a lot of people that just went from straight to the regional to the international, which is super, super chaotic. Some people stopped at home quickly in between. Even though it was really chaotic, I have to say, I actually thought it was a lot of fun. Like the back-to-back events like that. I was a part of the broadcast crew that for the final OCIC did the OCIC into a regional, which was not fun. That was not as much fun. But like the regional into an international, there was like this ramp up that I thought was really, really cool, even if it was a lot of Pokemon in a very short amount of time.
I mean, that's good to hear, because I've never done the back-to-back weeks, and I've always been, like hesitant or like concerned for the people that do with that much traveling and everything. And I've been fortunate to be on the first leg of both of these scenarios you're talking about. I did Australia, but not the next weekend, or regional the next weekend. I did Vegas, but not LAIC the next weekend. So I haven't had to be put through the ringer like you were, but like, I could see there's obviously the stresses of all the travel and how many clothes do you bring for 2 weeks and, whatever, and, all the meals you're going to have to buy. But then there is like, you're just gone. You're on vacation essentially for 2 weeks. You're only playing Pokemon for 3 or 4 of those days in total of the 2 weeks, depending on how well you're doing. So the rest of the time you can just like enjoy yourself. So it is, I think it is pretty cool. I wonder how most Pokemon fans feel about it, most players, especially those that travel to every single event. Like it just feels like a job to them, but like, yeah, maybe one day I'll do it.
To answer the laundry question, there was an outing on the Wednesday to a laundromat, and how we spent our Wednesday afternoon was 5 of us sitting in a laundromat for over 2 hours as we washed some clothes so we would be able to survive. So yeah, there's that. But yeah, the having to, because of being like broadcast talent, is like maybe, or at least that's how I felt for OCIC into the next regional. There was quite a few talent that had to do that back to back. But this time they were really good with the scheduling. There was only one person from all the games for broadcast talent that had to do the back to back, which was Juancho, who travels all the time anyways. So
yeah, he lives
whatever.
On
Exactly. So for the rest of the staff, Paperlight, TPCI, etc., I'd be curious how they felt about it. But like, I don't know. I thought it was fun that I'm rolling up to an airport and it's like, here are some players, here's some staff, here's just everyone. You get on the plane and you see people you recognize. You're going at the airport the way home and there's just a million people there. Like it just, I don't know. It really felt like a big adventure. So it was a good time.
And I think that's what's so cool too. Like, back when I was in Jersey, I would have a lot of players flying out of my, flights in Newark, right? And I think that there's something cool about that like, Pokemon is so big. You're not alone when you're flying the air. Like there's other people with the same hobby, the same interest as you. I think there was also, I saw something on Twitter a couple weeks ago. There was a Lorcana like tournament. I don't know if it was a regional or their nationals or whatever tournament they were doing, but like the flight attendant, apparently there were so many people flying for that Lorcana event that like the flight attendant announced it on the speakers, like, "Oh, Aww. We have a lot of Disney fans, and they're going to a Lorcana TCG tournament. And we wish them the best of luck." And like, that's a cool feeling,
That is so cool. That's really wholesome. I'd be curious if one day we had enough Pokemon people on a flight for that to happen. Like that is.
And it'd be easy to tell because we all fly in our Pokemon gear and our Pokemon backpacks and everything as our carry-on, right? So, like, it is easier if you see 10 to 15 people all wearing Pikachu stuff. You're like, hey, you're all happen to be flying to, Vegas this weekend or to Milwaukee or whatever. What are the odds?
Yeah, it's the Pokemon World's backpacks. Literally, like, the biggest giveaway of all time.
Yeah.
Yeah. Where should we hop into with LAIC, though?
I want to start with your journey because I'm jealous. I've not played in an IC before. This is your first time playing in an IC. I want to know the atmosphere. I want to know the intensity. Obviously, you're playing people from multiple different regions and if there's different play styles or how the conversations went. Like, let's start with your experience.
All right, so to start, this is the second time for VGC that I played in international because I got to play at NAIC, so not quite new. And then I had competed in internationals for TCG before, I think NAIC twice, and then OCIC once. So it's been a couple times, but this is the first LAIC that I've attended as a competitor. And first up, I mean, there is so much prep and etc. to do as a broadcast talent. But man, is there such a different level of stress as a competitor. I roll up. I don't have a team. I don't know what to play. I got to get the Pokemon in game. I got to decide. I got to test. I got to rest. There is just so much other stuff. It like, I don't know. It was stressful in a very different way. It really made me miss the other stress of like, oh, I got to prepare for the event. But it was also just kind of nice because there was no responsibilities outside of just playing the event, right? So it was kind of fun. I ended up vlogging my entire experience, which will be up on my YouTube in no near amount of time. Do not expect that anytime soon. I'm not gonna lie. NAIC maybe soon, but yeah, LAIC you'll be waiting a hot second. What's always really nice about playing at an event as opposed to being a broadcast talent is it is a completely different experience from the get-go. I mean, all the broadcast talents are there on a Thursday to rehearse and do all of this stuff. And for me, it's go to the venue, pick up stuff, prepare the team, hang out with friends, etc. Then you get into the day of competition. We both have to be there super, super early, but I'm out on the floor with like hundreds and hundreds of Pokemon people and the whole hustle and bustle of it. And you don't get that backstage, right? You get later on in the day and there's people playing for win-ins, or like there's the heartbreak because they get knocked out of the tournament. And again, you get to see maybe 2 people experience that on stream, but you don't see it on like a wide scale, right? And then of course just being able to talk and meet with people. I don't know. It's a really, really cool experience. Like if there is an IC that you're able to go to that you are not casting at, I would definitely recommend it for all broadcast talent who hasn't at least once, because it's just a complete flip of what you get to do, which I know this is going to be funny for like the listeners here, because these are probably listeners that maybe have competed at a Pokemon event. So this is just kind of like the normal for them, right? But being able to actually attend and compete was a lot of fun. I didn't do so great at the tournament. I went 3-5, which was lovely. So I originally was going to use Yosuke's team that he played at Las Vegas. He was so kind to give that to me at a Talent Lane free marina. And then upon testing the team, I realized that I am just not good at this game, and I was just not good with the team. So it, yeah. So every game I played, I would lose. I couldn't figure out how to play it properly, and I wasn't doing a good job. So I was like, I'm just going to bring Sun. And then there was the Tang team going around. So then Justin let me play that. So then I hopped on this Grimmsnarl, Volk, Lursa team. And I wish I had time to really practice it more, because I also sucked with this team. But at this point, it was like 10 o'clock the night before the tournament. Lock it, roll up with that. But it is what it is. I mean, I didn't go in with the intentions of winning. And every round I sat down, like people were so nice. People recognized me from either the podcast or from casting, and were just super, super nice about stuff. Which was a really like fun experience. So it was at the end of the day, even if I'm bad at Pokemon, like I had a lot of fun.
No, that's great. I'm happy to hear that. Also, my bad. Totally forgot you played at NAIC earlier
Dare
this
you
year.
forget?
I'm sorry. Totally blank. But like the LATAM community's always been so nice to us, right? Like they got us those esports jerseys, and they always say hi. They take selfies and things. I do feel bad that I have misplaced the OHKO stickers to like they might as well be in Guantanamo Bay, because I'm never finding them. I'm never getting them again. I found them one event when I forgot them at Worlds. I was like, oh man, and I tore my apartment apart trying to find them, and I found them. Okay, and I'm like, cool. I'm gonna put them here so I never forget. And now I don't remember where that location is. So we might need some new OHKO stickers at this point, because I just could never find them. In case I do play, like let's say at NAIC or something like that, as a player, I'll be out on the floor. And maybe Moxie might want a couple more stickers for his collection.
Well, we'll get some stickers because I'm running low on my own supply. But you're talking about the Latin players just being so nice, and like whether players or spectators, I really want to talk about that and really just hit that point home, because this has been my second time at LAIC. Both of us casted in 23. 24? 23?
It was the 24 season, but it was November of 2020, calendar year 23. Yep.
Yeah, but people are so incredibly nice. And I was talking about this with somebody, and it's like, obviously, like across the world and everywhere, like there's a player base that's just so happy to be there and play the game, and like everyone loves Pokemon, etc. But in comparison to like NAIC and EUIC, LAIC is the smallest event in terms of a lot of the logistics that happened, right? So there's no Pokemon Center there. This is the first year, I believe, that there was the giant Pikachu balloon. That's like the thing at an IC, right? And just a lot of the other things, especially too with travel being a little bit tougher going out to EUIC for them, etc. This is the opportunity for them to get what EU and NA gets, but there's still just some parts missing. But they're so grateful for every single part of LAIC that happened. So when I was talking to someone, I never even thought about the Pikachu balloon. It never crossed my mind. And someone's like, this is so cool. There is the giant Pikachu balloon. And there was some extra shops that were happening at the side, even if there isn't the Pokemon Center, and people were saying that that was cool. And people were just so grateful to see like some competitors, including myself, like come out and say hi because they had seen the broadcast and stuff. And everyone was just so kind in that regard that it really made me start to rethink a lot of things about the game and the experience and the travel and stuff. Because I feel like a lot of the time, like, take a lot of it for granted, right?
Hmm.
Like I get either picked up to go cast at an event or it's just like, I'll just go play for fun, right? Why not? And there's so many things at every single one of these events that wow, we take for granted, right? Like and talking to a lot of people over the weekend and just how grateful they were for like what they got at LAIC was just like, wow, I really want to start appreciating things a lot more. Like it was really, really eye-opening, not gonna lie.
No, that's awesome to hear. I've always loved the LATAM community here within VGC. They're passionate. They've always been so nice. Like the to this day, still one of the coolest things I've ever experienced live was when Paul Ruiz won Worlds in Nashville. Like just with how electric that crowd was, it felt like anyone that wasn't American, because most of the Americans were rooting for Emilio, right? But anyone outside of that, like it felt like it was an event. It was a moment that a LATAM player was winning Worlds, and they're just always so nice in all their esports, their passion, right? Whether it's fighting games or League of Legends or anything, they're so tight knit as a community. And I do. It is a bummer that LATAM is so far away because it's so hard to get to for some people. Like I thought they said in the broadcast that like this is the furthest that Yuma has ever traveled in his life or something like that, because going from Japan all the way to Brazil is obviously pretty far away. So I'm happy that we like have LAIC, and hopefully it just continues to grow and get the player size up to the other two ICs one day.
Yeah, I hope so because it's definitely something that the player base deserves, right? And like again, just they're so nice about everything and just playing Pokemon and like the crowd was just going nuts no matter what game it was, especially like Brazilian in the final, like TCG Masters, like was crazy. VGC Masters was crazy, but rooting for Yuma, which was like a lot of fun because like they were just like Yuma on top, right? And there I don't know, the crowd and like the people were just so cool to see. But talking about Yuma and the fact this is the farthest he's traveled for an event, let's talk about how that paid off and maybe start with the finals and everything else because to not much surprise, our Japan national champion is now our LAIC champion.
Yeah, he was building quite the resume for himself at this point in the last couple of seasons. Going into if he continues, I'm not sure what his plans are to play at EUSC or NAIC, right? But if he continues on this international run this season, who knows how much more success he can have. And I think it was really cool. I was looking up as we were getting ready. Obviously, there's some similar things between his Vegas and the LAIC team, but for LAIC, he ended up swapping the Arch-Aladon for Flamigo, and then there was one more change. Why am I blanking? No, I think that's actually it. The other five are the same: Whimsicott, Incineroar, Hisuian Typhlosion, Farigiraf, and Blood Moon Ursaluna. So I thought that match, like, I would selfishly, I do love Yuma, but I think it's understandable that I was rooting for Juan Salerno in the finals because I was so close to getting that prediction right for the first time. So I was happy with either outcome, but I was also a little bummed that Juan didn't get there. But I think this is the easiest Flamigo rental, or not rental co, whatever, the giveaway distribution champion of all time, right? Like Flamigo was so awesome, it put in work. Like I think we're all getting a Flamigo at EUIC.
I hate to burst everyone's bubble, but Yuma used a shiny one, and there is some non-shiny Pokemon on the team. The only time we've seen a shiny distribution was Alchua's team when he had an all-shiny team. Other than that, they've normally have strayed away from shinies unless I'm missing something. So I think it's going to be the Farigiraf. I hope it is the Flamigo because I think like the way the crowd popped off was incredible. This Pokemon it's not been non-existent, but it's been definitely not near the top of the list in terms of usage whatsoever, especially to lacing at too many events. So it's like obscure. Yeah, the crowd is popping off because like it would hit the field and it was just like checkmate positions. It was incredible. So I really, really hope that they do go for the Flamigo here, but I don't have the most faith.
Now, yeah, I didn't think about the shiny thing. Was Luca's distribution of Farfetch'd? I can't remember off the top of my head.
I believe so.
So we have had for. I mean,
we've had how many Gastrodons?
We've had multiple Whimsicots now at this point. Which, by the way, you can still pick up your Whimsicott. I did not know this until we were recording, and I'm gonna log in because I never get the distribution stuff when I'm at events because it's always you have to pick it up that weekend, and like I don't want to connect switch to the Wi-Fi. I'm lazy, blah blah. And so it goes till November 30th actually this time. So I think that's a really nice change that the distribution is not just the 3-day weekend.
Yeah, that's really nice because I've missed essentially every distribution except for
like, everyone. Yeah.
I think Wolf's Incineroar was the only one I didn't because I was just not missing that one. Like,
that's what I was gonna say. Is speaking of Wolf. Broke down that barrier of remember Marco, everyone loved the Charizard. We did not get the Charizard because they don't usually do the first partner Pokemon as a distribution, right? Now with Wolf's Incineroar, does that open the gates to maybe Hisuian Typhlosion as the distribution? Because I don't know if that one was shiny or not. Can't remember off the top of my head, but like if we can use starters as for international distribution, like out of this team, I would rather Typhlosion than Flamigo.
No, I think for just because the thing is I always want like a partner Pokemon that's like associated more with like the trainer and or the match.
Mm-hmm.
So like, I mean, the Hisuian Typhlosion was like key in other matches. Don't get me wrong, but like again, just the way the crowd was going nuts when a Flamigo hits the field and the work it puts in. I just hope for that reason that we get that Pokemon because that is incredible.
And I like that it was this Focus Sash version. Not that it's, not common or whatever, but I think if you polled a bunch of VGC players and said, name a Flamigo set, most of them probably would have said Choice Scarf with the ability's name is escaping me right now, the one that matches the
Co-Star?
Yes, thank you. So most people probably say the Co-Star Choice Scarf set, which maybe in other formats it works out, but I mean, Yuma with this Focus Sash, like, as you mentioned, just was continually putting his team in checkmate positions.
I mean, yes, because we've seen Flamigo with Dondozo before, which is then when, like, there was the way back in regulation, BC way back, there was the Toxic Orb Tatsugiri with the Dondozo with the Co-Star Flamigo that was used at a couple of events. But I mean, at this point, with the Scrappy ability to be able to hit these ghost types, I think is just so key as well. The Feint was just a really, really cool addition to this team. So I think this Flamigo, considering the team that's here, makes a lot of sense. Like, looking over this team, this is just so incredibly strong from the get-go. Like, the only Typhlosion, like Hisuian Typhlosion we've really gotten to see is with, like, Joe's Sun team. But then kind of just having a little Sun element to this, but then just some really, really strong Pokemon. Like, this is a really cool Zoom room because the Tailwind and the Trigger team that we got to see, right? And even things like the little text coming down to like the Baviri Berry to be able to take and make it rain, stuff like that, I think was just so nice. Like, it doesn't really seem like much was missed with this team.
Yeah, also only 2 protects on the team in Flamigo and Ursaluna, right? Which just shows how hyper offensive it is. Usually people will try to have 3 or 4 protecting moves. It's not always a law or anything like that in VGC, but it's something people try to do with their team for some defensive things. But the Nightshade on Farfetch'd is cool. I think Yuma, I wonder, if he's going to make a team report or something like that to see how the team is constructed, because it's very clearly Typhlosion, Ursaluna, and Flamigo do damage, and Whimsicott, Incineroar, and Farfetch'd support the team, right? Like, so you could very much have in most of your matchups a 2-2 split of offense and support, and Whimsicott filling multiple roles. Setting the Tailwind means Flamigo doesn't need a Choice Scarf. Also, having access to Wide Guard helps you in the mirrors against all these spread attacks like Eruption and Hyper Voice. And then, of course, Feint makes your Life Orb Blood Moon even stronger, because if they think they're going to get out, they're going to protect in front of the Blood Moon attack, they got another thing coming.
Well, even things like the Wide Guard, so like if an opponent does Blood Moon and the next turn you think is Hyper Voice, just go in for that there. Make it range, you're good. Like, even just that threat of Wide Guard really makes it so your opponent has to play differently, which is just, yeah, I thought this was super duper well done. And then a 2-0 in the finals as well. So, I mean, you had talked about being torn. That's because, as of yet, LAIC has never had a Latin American champion.
Yeah.
And they almost did. Juan Salerno went 4th at Gdansk, 2nd at the Buenos Aires Special Championships. And it kind of seemed like everything was gearing up for him to get a first place here. But unfortunately, going out at 2nd, you're so close to being right on your predictions. Way to go. But one day
I'll take it. I'll take it. This is as close as I can get. This is my PB without actually getting first, right? So
yeah, I mean, I was torn at the finals because like I wanted Juan to be able to get that win, to get an IC win in the Masters division, and for them to like get that title. But as well with Yuma, me and Joe had been traveling with Yuma and Kiwamu throughout the week and stuff. So then it was like made friends. It was like, oh, now I want him to win, right? So it was it was bittersweet in the finals either way. But I mean, Juan will get there. This was super duper impressive run with just a really just standard like strong team as well. Like, oh, we're back to Terra Flying Sneasler with the Agati, like just the quintessential Reg G team.
Yeah, I mean, literally with Juan, like this is the core that everyone jokes about. Like, just take the top 6 Pokemon in the phase 1 of a Regulation H tournament, and you're gonna like that. You just make a team, and Juan literally did that here. Like, it's just good stuff set the of this format, and it's good for a reason, right? Obviously, these Pokemon work well. You have a little bit of a difference with the acrobatics version, which you saw a lot of back in Pittsburgh in the beginning of this second go round in Regulation H, where it doesn't even need Dire Claw on the team, because the acrobatics damage is just going to be so good into many of the threats. And that Flamigo was really good into Gholdengo, right? That's a big counter with Scrappy, is you can close combat Gholdengo and just delete it. And I think that's something that gave Juan some trouble in the finals.
Yeah, and like looking at this, a lot of the elements is from like just the balanced team that started at the very beginning of the format, but minus a Ninetales, bring in a Dragonite, but a lot of other things looking like quite similar, even going down to concepts like the Blursa with the Yawn, which is so annoying. I played up against it. I just have such a bad time. I'm not gonna lie. Like,
we got to bring Lumberry back, or Misty Terrain or something, man, because these Yawns.
No, honestly. And like my opponent, they yawned me every single turn, and I got so sick of it that I actually side T-waved my Pokemon. The one turn he didn't yawn. I couldn't believe it.
You almost next leveled.
I couldn't believe it. I was just like, really? Like, we've done 2 games of this, and this is gonna be when you don't yawn? Like, are we serious here?
Wow.
I just couldn't believe it. I just couldn't believe it. So yeah, super annoying team to go up against. Super strong team. So to be able to see a second place here with it does not surprise me at all.
Yeah, I also think too. Like, I think one of our prediction questions was who would have higher usage, Sneasler or Dragonite, and then Dragonite ended up having higher usage, and I don't know how Dragonite, like I'm thinking of the meme, like he can't keep getting away with this, like 39%, and all you have is Scale Shot, and this one was Terra Steel, I understand, but most of the other Dragonites are Terra Fairy, and if you just face any Fairy type in general, Fairy Volcarona or Fairy Blood Moon or like Fairy Dragonite, whatever, like you just can't do damage. Maybe I'm not smart enough. I cannot make the Dragonite work whenever I try, and it's at 39% usage, so clearly people are getting success with it.
I'm gonna put you onto something amazing here, okay?
Mm-hmm.
So look at Dragonite usage, right? Let's look at the Gholdengo usage as well.
42%, yeah.
What does Gholdengo's signature move do that's really good up against these terrestrialized Pokemon and the Pokemon that Scale Shot can't hit?
Well, it does destroy fairy types.
Yeah. So, like, you Dragonite, you can Tailwind, whatever. You can bait out a Terra Fairy. Gholdengo, bam, get him, get him, get him. And there you go.
Make it rain, Goldie.
Okay, I'm gonna charge $40 for that coaching session right there. But I mean, that's part of it too. I mean, there has been games where, because even somebody I went up against got to see like that checkmate scenario where like, well, I can't really hit him anymore, right? But like, that's kind of the thing. You have other tools on the team to be able to deal with that. If Volcarona goes into a fairy type, the rest of your Pokemon are going to hit it neutrally. Gholdengo's going to hit it for super effective. Also just got out Terrestrialization. So it's really works. Like, even with like the still Dire Claw Sneaslers, not every Sneasler has Dire Claw nowadays. But when you do have that set, absolutely amazing, right? So I think that's the biggest thing. There is like a YouTube comment, a Twitter comment, something where somebody was calling out Dragonites, and it was like, why don't people run extreme speed or like a flying move on them anymore? Like, it's why people lose or something like that. And it's like, no, like the Pokemon is strong. It's the same situation. If like you, like the Dragonites that more so had like the extreme speed and then can't really do much, or Rillaboom that has grass moves and like
your choice banded
into
extreme speed in front of Gholdengo, right?
Yeah, like Rillaboom, if you go for the Grassy Glide high horsepower and the Wood Hammer, you can't really hit opposing Rillabooms, but if you go for the U-turn set, you can't really hit Incineroars. It's just making sure you got a bunch of pieces. But I mean, it definitely is like annoying having to play around only having the one move. But man, the scale shots when they hit, the big if is just so crazy, incredibly strong, and the speed boost, like, sheesh.
I really like the speed boost. I think it's like because of Tailwind, right? Like I don't think the set would obviously have the utility it does without having Tailwind, because it's not like we saw a little of Garchomp and Baxcalibur with some scale shot stuff right at the beginning of Scarlet and Violet, but it didn't stick as well as this Dragonite set has, because you really don't care about if you click scale shot a couple times and you're -2 defense, but you essentially have a free Tailwind before you click Tailwind. Like, you don't care about the defense traps, one, because you could haze them away after you set up Tailwind if you wanted to, but also like there's so many other threats that like you're not, like Volcarona or Chaladon or Bloodmurse Luna or Gholdengo and like Alolan Ninetales, right? Like you don't really care about the defense traps.
Yeah, like there definitely was. I think there was like a grass move at one point where I was at -3 defense where it ended up KOing me, not from full, but my Dragonite got taken care of, and I was just like, huh? And then it's like, oh, wait a second. Yeah, I guess I am at a -3 defense right about now. Like, don't get me wrong. But I mean, if you have the speed and you're just KOing stuff, whatever, a defense drop just isn't that big of a deal. Just make sure to hit your moves and you're going to be fine. But I mean, you're talking about top 12, talking about like the Dragonite over the Sneasler. You want to talk about Pokemon that can't keep getting away with it? This is day 1 usage, 37% Blursa, still really high. Mm-hmm. We go up to 45% day 2, and like, I played this Pokemon, so I am guilty of this as well. But I am no longer having fun in this format because this Pokemon is just way too incredibly strong. Like, that is, like, I know Incineroar is the one at 60% usage, but again, Incineroar can be used on like any team, and technically so can Blursa, but like the Pokemon is just so annoying to go up against. The thing doesn't get KO'd, but it KOs you. It's just, it hits the ghost type, so it's not like you have the immunity. Like, I hate it.
No, I think a lot of people are very frustrated. It seems like people, like I've said when we first made Regulation H, it seems like they kind of missed the balance patch of, they got rid of all the legendaries but allowed Luna to stick around, right? So can't use Landers, can't use Urshifu, but you could use another really strong broken Pokemon like Bloodmoon. And I think regular Ursaluna, either I know it was represented in both juniors and seniors. I cannot remember for the life of me if it won both of them. I know it won one of the two, but like it's not like if you add up Blood Moon and regular Ursaluna usage, right? Especially after Dylan's Trick Room, resurgence, and we saw a lot of Porygon 2 as well. Like it's probably around 60-something% combined Ursaluna usage in phase 2, right? Obviously, it's less than the Pelipper that's at 15% in the 12th spot, but like they're really hard hitting Pokemon, and it's one of the formats where normally, normal attacks are not too common. Like you have extreme speed, which is not really a normal attack. People are using it as just like a priority attack that happens to be normal. Like you don't see too many normal Pokemon that are really offensive unless they're setting up like Snorlax with Belly Drum or something. But Blood Moon, you didn't have to set up. You just go out there, click Blood Moon. You faint if they try to protect in front of it, and then you click Hyper Voice in between turns. There's people using Vacuum Wave, right, to beat the other Blood Moons. Like we're in a really interesting spot.
By interesting, he means bad. By the way, I don't know. I'm over this Pokemon. Like I thought Gholdengo wasn't fun. But like, yeah, the Blood Moon Ursaluna is just as frustrating. So, I mean, there is still one left event in this regulation with Stuttgart, but in terms of North America, we are done with this format. We are very close to just being done with it. It's coming up real soon that the last regional is going to be done. And even if I'm not necessarily most excited to go back to Regulation F, I am very okay to be done with this format because this is just not fun anymore, personally, to me.
Yeah, I do wonder how, like, we kind of said this when we went from right after Regulation H into the next formats with the restricteds. Like, since Sneasler was so dominant the first time around, like, is this going to influence anybody now that they've had their eyes open to how the good utility Sneasler can provide will become better? And the answer for the most part was no. I do think there was one Worlds team that I just have the worst memory in the world today, that Top Cut with a Sneasler on it in Anaheim. So like it did get a little bit of usage, but like, do you think, because remember the first Regulation F go around, we had like 50% Landorus Incarnate usage on teams to deal with the Raging Bolts that were everywhere. Do you think there's any chance that some of those Landori, if you will, get converted to Blood Moon teams now that people remember just how good it is?
I know that's a boring answer, but I don't know, because I feel like the first time around in Regulation F, like, just Ursaluna in general, like, I'm thinking back at Nils's UIC team that had the P2 Hisuian Ursa, and I don't recall seeing the most amount of Ursaluna before that event. So, I don't know. I'd be curious. I think one thing with, like, the Lursa into the Raging Bolt is when you're looking at Raging Bolts that are going for Calm Mind, etc., Assault Vest, it's going to be a little bit more difficult to hit. I guess the Raging Bolt doesn't really have too much to do in it to return, but I don't know. I'm still like, I haven't quite dived back into Regulation F yet. My brain is still all mushy from the weekend, so all the current regulation we got to talk about, but
yeah, I said, don't worry, we got time. We
got plenty of time,
and you could help build our next team for anybody watching the pod here, because our next OHKO group team build is revolving around Galarian Moltres, which doesn't have much success in Regulation F, but I have been enjoying using it in our draft league. So I thought it would be fun to be like, hey, let's see if we could. It's a fun Pokemon. I like the Berserk activations and Tailwind, and I like flinching people with Fiery Wrath. So anyone wants to help us make the most busted Galarian Moltres Regulation F team, join our Discord.
There you go. I mean, Galarian Moltres is an annoying Pokemon to go up against, so it'll be interesting to see how that one turns out. But
just gotta watch out for that, pesky little Raging Bolt that nobody uses.
Yeah, nobody uses. Yeah, nobody uses. But all right. Back over to this, and yeah, looking over at the Top Cut. Going into the weekend, I talked about it on the LAIC preview show, but I said going into the ICs, especially after it was Yosuke and who was it at NAIC that got their invite? I am blanking. I didn't even get
we're just having the
home.
worst day.
Well,
Yeah,
I
both
didn't
of us.
I got home like 16 hours ago from like over 24 hours travel. Like my bad. But two Japanese players securing their world's invitations from top 4 in ICs. So I said at the LAIC preview show that was definitely a storyline into this weekend, and sure enough, 2 of the top 4 receiving those direct invites were Japanese players, Yuma Kinagawa and then Yuya Tada. So yeah, big congratulations to them. And I think that's just going to be something that's more expected to be showing up while we have this current system, because yeah, normally they can't secure a world's invite until the Japan National Championships, right? And now both of these players have their invites. So I think that's really, really cool to see.
Yeah, I was just looking it up. It was Kazuki Kobayashi got top 4, and then Yuma also got top 8 in at NAIC over the summer. But I love that the Japanese players are traveling more over the last couple of seasons, because those direct invites, like we can see, there's a clear direct causation to them attending more events. And the amount of times, like, we had Shoma in Vegas talk about how he likes the NA system, or the Western system, more than the Japanese system. And they keep, as long as we keep incentivizing these players, like, you're going to get different talents, you're going to develop more skills and get more practice. And I think it's cool that the players get to have more interactions with the Japanese player base, because they do have their own metagame over there, and their best of one, single elimination, whatever events, not always, but like, it's just a whole different world. So when they can come over here and express the same skills and play under the same rule set and still perform at such incredible levels, like, it shows that there's such a strong region everyone should be worried about going into international events.
Yeah, and like, for context on how crazy this is too, with 2 of the top 4 being Japanese players, I can't remember the exact number, but I think there was only like 4 or 5 Japanese players that attended LAIC. It was not a large amount of players. So to get then 2 out of, let's assume it is 5, 2 out of 5 players to be getting in top 4 to get those direct invites is just incredible. And as you're saying, like, this opportunity to play against the Japanese players is really cool, because yeah, like, for myself, who's never going to play a world championships, I probably would have never gotten that opportunity. And like, I didn't play up against any of the Japanese players over the weekend because I'm bad at the game. They're good at the game, so like, I'm not pairing up into them. But like, there is this chance, like, early on, that I could maybe place up against them, right? Even some regionals, there was, I think, 6 players who attended Las Vegas. Like, that is just really, really cool. So I was really, really happy to see that. And then Teo team as well for France. Everyone is like all the French players were cheering for him. I mean, Volcarona, the Ninetales, just super, super strong stuff. I want to talk about Oliver's team, though, because we got to see this in Vegas, and this team is still just, I don't know, this is just incredible. No one picked it up, I believe, after Vegas from him. Not any, like, discernible results that I can see, though, but this team is just crap.
Again, another to protect team. I'm just throwing it out there. Listen, we're just recognizing patterns going on here. These high performing teams that do not have a lot of protects available on them, so they're not going to be long matches for Oliver, but he can definitely steamroll through. And this was one of the sets, like, when we talked about how people are saying, why not run extreme speed? And I was going to say, well, in Vegas, we actually did see Oliver win on stream in a Dragonite mirror, because he had extreme speed, and he clicked extreme speed into a -2 defense Dragonite on the other end that only had scale shot, and he was Terra Fairy. So it definitely feels good in the mirror. And the team is like kind of all over the place, right? Like, there's a Sun mode, a Venusaur Torkoal, but you don't have After You that Lilligant has, so Torkoal is never going to be fast. That's why Torkoal is not specs and has Helping Hand to help others deal more damage. There's the Trick Room mode with Dusclops and Torkoal. The Annihilate has coaching to make Dragonite scale shots do even more damage. Like, this does feel like a generally, like, good strategies team, right? That Oliver has. Like, it's not just one core strategy he's revolving around, and like, just like, kind of like, I'll decide the 4 when I get into the match.
I mean, Venusaur, like, what I think is really cool and, like, funny about this team is just this Venusaur of all things, because we've seen Venusaur in past formats, like, quite a bit, right? Like, Venusaur has been a good Pokemon, but in Scarlet and Violet, it's been fairly non-existent, and I know that some people try to make it work, and it's just kind of not really been there. And to just, like, at the very last moment within this regulation, to pull out a Venusaur of all things, and a Dusclops, which has also been non-existent, and be able to go on back-to-back, like, runs with it is just incredible. I really like Weather Ball on it as well, just so you have something to, I mean, it's essentially a fire-type move, but it could be water if the water's weather, or, like, water's raid, or anything like that. And I love a good helping hand Torkoal, honestly. I normally play, because of, Ugarte, normally play the eject pack set with, like, the overheat, etc. This one, charcoal to do your own damage, but the helping hand's just super, super nice if you don't have that priority on the field. Like, this would be the one team that, if this regulation was going on for much longer, that I would pick up and try to play, because I think this team just looks so cool.
Yeah, I do think this team looks really fun, and I'm also with you on Venusaur. I've thought it was good. Like, just, obviously there's different generations have different threats, right? So, like, you might want the Jump Pluff for Sleep Powder user, Sui and Lilligant for Sleep Powder, but, like, just thought Venusaur was good the whole time. And Weather Ball, it's a fire, water, rock, and ice attack, so you have 4 moves in one, depending on what you need for the Venusaur. The Dusclops is something I think that if there's one Pokemon I want more people to try, I know we're at the end of this regulation, but going into Stuttgart, I want more people to try Dusclops. Like, Venusaur's got to kind of be on a Sun team, so, like, you have to kind of be committed to it. But I do think Dusclops is just really good and can fit on a lot of different teams, a hard Trick Room team or something that's kind of multifaceted like this. Like, it's just such a bulky Pokemon that I hope people can try to keep making it work.
Yeah, especially with something like, you have that Haze utility. That was something at the beginning of the format. It's just like, oh, what is your Haze user? Makes sense, it's on a Dusclops. And Pain Split is just one of the most annoying moves in the game. Like, it's so obnoxious to go up against at any point. So yeah, I mean, I'm not a fan of it in terms of I want to go up against it, but other than that, like, yeah, I think it's strong.
And putting Haze on Dusclops, that's the difference. Where if your Trick Room setter was Indeedee female, or Hatterene, or Porygon 2 or something, like, they don't have Haze, right? So this is a very clear distinction from Oliver. Like, I'm putting Haze on Dusclops, so that gives Dragonite more offensive utility to use Ice Spinner, to use Extreme Speed, because it doesn't have to, one, you're not a Tailwind team, so you don't have to waste a Tailwind slot on that, so it gives you another attack, and then 2, you don't have to waste a slot on Haze on your Dragonite, because Dusclops has you covered.
Yeah, which is well said. So, looking at other teams, I mean, you were saying before this that you got messaged about Tangang.
Tangang, yeah. we were so close, Sierra.
Yeah, but this team as well. I mean, I'll talk about this a little bit because I also played this team over the weekend. There was a few people that hopped onto this team. My experiences with the team is playing it out when I went up against other opposing Volcaronas and Blood Moon Ursalunas or anything else, that it was not fun to play. Also, a big part of this is just a skill gap in terms of I am just not good at the game. And yeah, that was very much so felt while I was playing this team. I did not do that good of a job. Obviously, the team was very good. I was just not. But yeah, there's a lot of damage mitigation on this team in general. You look at things like the Screens, Snarl, Struggle Bug, as opposed to the Quiver Dance, and then just some really powerful options going back to Choice Specs, Gholdengo, etc. Yeah, I mean, just good stuff all around. Like I said, I wasn't good.
Yeah, I think this team's pretty cool. I am a player that does like screens and like damage mitigation moves and stuff, so the Grimmsnarl interests me. I think Justin also had a Grimmsnarl on his San Antonio winning regional team. I want to say that was the Grimmsnarl Roaring Moon team, but I could just have the worst memory, so maybe he didn't. So it could just be like kind of a comfort thing that Justin likes. I know in Vegas he had that match on stream against an opposing Volcarona that he just kept clicking Struggle Bug Snarl like 4 turns in a row. So the quiver dances kept getting negated on the other end. So what I want to know though from Aaron, how many times throughout the weekend did you trick your choice specs onto like a physical attack or anything? Like, did you ever get like a really good trick that you feel like, haha, gotcha?
So, fun little story. I got to hear out on the field how someone with the team had tricked away an Eviolite so that P2 would perish, and then on an Ursa swap-in before it like got to do its flame orb, then gave it the Eviolite, so it never got flame orb. Amazing play, right? That is just like, geez, myself. I'm sitting there across from a P2. I remember this story. I'm like, I have a good opportunity here to stop him and to style on him a little bit, right? So,
oh god,
I click the trick. I take the Eviolite away from the P2. I give it choice specs. Ice Beam. Wrecks my team.
That's what I was thinking this whole time.
Didn't even care. Like, Trick Room would have been like reasonably like so good in any scenario except for tricking his Pokemon, and then he Ice Beamed instead, and it was just, yep, it was a bad day. It was a bad day to be Sierra. So
like, I don't need the Eviolite defenses. I'm just gonna destroy everything with choice specs. I did.
Yeah. So that was my experience with Trick Gholdengo.
That's not his base, Sierra.
It was not. It was not.
Also, another to protect team. I'm just throwing it out there. I'm just noticing the tendencies of the formats here. Don't call me crazy. I'm just saying we keep looking at all these top cut teams that only have 2 or less protects on them.
I mean, fair. I mean, this, like, there's so many things that can just take attacks, though. Like,
right.
Realistically, like, Grimmsnarl, you set up the screens. Archaludon, you will just want to take attacks so you can get that juicy defense boost, right? Gholdengo, I mean, choice specs, you don't really have like the choice. Volcarona as well, as long as it's behind screens, it's going to do pretty well. Like,
what was your most Terran Pokemon?
It was actually pretty even across the field.
Oh, okay.
I'm not gonna lie, for myself, anyways. The one thing that I didn't like was I didn't really like the Terra fighting on the Archaludon while I was playing it.
That's what I was going to ask.
But, like, also my play style, I like Pokemon like the Grimm, playing the Blursa, the Volk, etc., more than something like Archaludon. Archaludon wasn't really my thing, and Archaludon's a really big key piece of this. Like, you just look like Archaludon's just such a strong Pokemon, but if you look back at teams I've used within the regulation, I've never been an Archaludon person, right? So body press Terra fighting can do damage, and I hated clicking this Terra button. I did not enjoy it.
That's fair. The other team that I saw in Top Cut was Agati's Double Weather team. I think that was pretty cool.
Weather. So Agati played up against Salerno, and that was like a man, because it was whoever wins that is probably making it to finals, which did happen. But this was such a cool team to see. Like, being able to see the little Politoed of Whirlpool of all things. I just think this team was just awesome.
Yeah, I think that's so cool to see, because Politoed, we remember at the end, the first time around with Toronto, right, with Will's Paris song, Politoed team came out of nowhere, and then now this time at the end of LAIC, we have Politoed coming back, and I think it has been, for the last couple of generations, so outshined by Pelipper that the real Drizzle loyalists, the real Politoed Pokemon fans like myself have felt sad, because it's one of my favorite Pokemon ever. It's one of it's arguably the best shiny ever. Like, it's just so awesome.
It's very clean.
So, like, I'm happy that Politoed has found just a little niche here in the format. I don't expect it to stay, because like Agati, obviously very very fantastic player who constructed this team in a very specific sense to have double weather. Because that's the one thing I always thought with these Reg H good stuff, Ninetales Basculesian teams, right? Like how Zachary had that in the Vegas finals is like, man, it would be nice if there was rain here and instead of Ninetales clicking Blizzard, because then your wave crashes and flip turns and Aqua Jets would be doing more damage. And that's how Agati kind of couldn't not fix, but changed one of those matchup issues.
Yeah, and just looking over at the team in general, like this Ninetales set's focusing not too much on just the damage, but instead like the utility. You got quite a bit of utility on the team. So this looks like a really tricky team to be piloting, but I mean, just even more kudos then to Agati for the run and everything else, because top 8 is still just absolutely incredible. I mean, looking at the rest of our top cut here, William Brown, Billy, has just been on a tear. I mean, this was the player that didn't get broadcasted all of the last season. Now we've gotten to see him on broadcast, but like still just having a very, very high level of consistency. I don't think we got to see him on main broadcast over the weekend. I was too busy being at the event. I didn't really pay attention. But like, this is so impressive. Genuinely.
Absolutely. That's my cousin right there. I'll see him for Thanksgiving probably, they're by the time we get to, let's say, NAIC, we'll see how the season plays out. Like, there could be a world that Billy's the best player in North America. Like, I love Justin Tang, I love all that, I love Joe Garte, I love all of them, but like, he has been so unbelievably consistent now for a season and a half. And Gio is the world champion, so I do have to give him some respect that he might still be the best player in the world like he was in Anaheim. But like, if Billy just continues to top cut every event all the way through NASC going into Worlds, like it might be hard to argue against him.
I mean, there's the conversation that's really interesting about winning an event, being equal to your skill level, or just like the level of consistency. Because I think it is so incredibly difficult to win an event, but to also have the level of consistency that Billy has had is also just as difficult, right? Like that is like, I don't want to take away from that just because he hasn't won a major, because this is just crazy. I think he is if not the highest point earner in NA, would be second. It might be Tang in first, because Tang is also just such an incredible player, obviously sitting at 6th here. But like, when everyone talks about Tang. Everyone talks about Tang because of his 3 regional wins, but you really are not having the same conversations around Billy, who has just had such an unprecedented level of consistency in an age where it's really difficult now to have that level of consistency, considering the average skill of the player base, the size of the events, etc. Like, I think that gets to be really interesting for the conversation going on forward about the strength of certain players, even without like these major wins. And someone else I want to call out as well, like Kylan has also just been super strong, and Dondozo's strongest soldier here. I mean, we don't necessarily see Dondozo as much on broadcast anymore because Dondozo, but I mean, Dondozo is still around.
Yeah, unfortunately, I guess, or fortunately, in Kylan's sense, to get 10th here at LAIC is just how you feel about Blood Moon. I guess is how I felt about Dondozo for 3 years, 3 years at this point. But I do think it is somewhat of a Pokemon specialist team at this point. Like, there are some people in TCGs that always play the same type of deck, right? And I think there are people like Kylan or Chuppa or others that have just learned to pilot the Dondozo strategy so well that they can kind of take it into whichever format they need to and update the strat and still perform with it. So I think that's what just counted as so much success with the core, that there's no reason to get away from that strategy just because everyone else is dropping it if you're still getting success with it.
I mean, you want to talk about Pokemon specialists. I always thought the Joe Sun team was a Pokemon specialist type of team, because we hadn't, as far as I can recall, hadn't really seen it picked up and piloted to such a high level that he is. And he dropped it over the weekend, but you see Hans Pizarro, and apologize if I'm not saying your name right, but this is the Joe Sun team getting 7th at LAIC. So we've seen some innovations on Sun, right? Obviously, Oliver's team that hasn't popped off, but in Las Vegas, we got to see the Hisuian Lilligant version of the team, which is really, really strong and just kind of ran over a lot of the tournament, right? But this team's only really been Joe's. We only saw it at the beginning of this, right? 2.0. But then, yeah, Han's picking it up and playing it. And yeah, it's like top 8 is incredible.
Yeah, I was just saying you don't see King Gambit and Garchomp nearly as often as we used to, and Han's going from Louisville to LATAM here with the Joe's Sun team. I think that's pretty cool. I like that. Even Hisuian Typhlosion winning, right, the event on Yuma's team without a Torkoal shows, like, yes, you still have Sunny Day with the Whimsicott, but it's being used in a different mode, right? You're not just a Sun team, and I don't mean that in like a negative sense. Like, that's the main role of Joe's team, right, is taking advantage of the Sun. And so, like, Garchomp, I think it's hard in this format to find like good usage when with the Intimidates, and there's a harder hitting ground type out there in either of the Ursaluna forms, so it's got a lot of stiff competition. But credit to Hans.
Yeah, so great run there. I'm looking beyond. I mean, Joe's Sand team at 12th place, 1 million Blursas, including this just missing out on Top Cut is crazy, by the way. We got Joao Nicholas, we have Marco Silva, which running back the Lil winning team, 15th place. We have Gio at 16th with the Tang team, Louis Markle, Chongjun, Chichiot, like, this is just crazy. Luca, Edu, a lot of really, really strong runs.
Yeah, I'm happy Marco was able to make it into top 16, because I think he started 3-2 or something like that. I think the first couple, I can't remember the exact rounds, but the first couple rounds were tough for Marco.
Rough start.
Yeah, so I'm happy to see that he was able to have a strong performance at essentially his home event, since he's won it all these times now. So the Rabami thing is just so cool, and I wonder what new strategies Marco's going to come up with in when we go back to Regulation F.
Right.
That's the first Hisuian Lilligant's 24th. Isn't that crazy with how huge Lilligant was in Vegas?
Won at 21st, but yeah, like, I think it was very respected going into the weekend. That's part of it. It's not catch people off guard. Like, people have time to like get their game plans, everything else. So glad I didn't end up playing at the end. Kilowatcho, I think, was a little of the same thing. People just a little bit more prepared for it. Mamoswine at 39. Let's go. Look at anything else too crazy.
Nothing else too crazy.
I mean, this one kind of is. Donzo, Tatsugiri, Dragapult, Annihilate, Sableye, Galarian Weezing. Get to see Calvin try out Oliver Escalin's
Calvin's
team.
using Oliver's team, yeah.
Yeah. We got Darsh with the Kingdra, the Comfey. I don't remember the last time we've seen a Comfey out here at all. Hatterene. Oh, this is hard. Our Trick Room with like the Dragapult as well. You can U-turn up. Gengar. Yeah. Fun stuff.
Yeah, I think overall it was a pretty fun watch from home, and from everything you're saying, it seems like it was a fun event in person as well.
Yeah, I haven't watched a lot of the matches. Obviously, like I got to watch through like top 8, top 4s, finals, etc. But anything in Swiss, I haven't seen at all. So that's something I'll get to go back to. But yeah, as of that, minus the one EU event, we are done with Regulation H now, and we never really got to talk about it, but we've mentioned it. We are going back to Regulation F, which won out the poll. So yeah, it was a poll to determine the next regulation that we are going to be playing, and people voted for Regulation F, which, man, I really wish it was Regulation C, but oh well.
Yeah, I think one, I'd like to publicly state that we had absolutely nothing to do with it. I'm not going to sit here and act like the sway that the OHKO debate between Justin and Toller had such significance that it changed people's minds. I think that was just a fun debate and conversation that we had. But it is kind of fun if we pretend that like people actually were, like they were choosing a president or something, like they were choosing their candidate of who they were going to back. And then I tweeted out from our account when Regulation F1, because Justin made a tweet about it. It was like, maintaining the agenda is our top priority. And I understand you can feel sad. I know you were big on the Reg C train, but like, I do like Regulation F. Who knows how I'm going to feel by the time we get through the end of it. I think it goes through March or something like that, right? What was the announcement? I can't remember off the top of my head. I don't think it was February. I think they said it was March, but I could just again have the worst memory in the world today. So that presumably means that we're going to have it at EUIC. And if everyone was complaining last time around that EUIC was so Calm Mind Raging Bolt pilled that, like, you know, maybe I'll regret my decision. I'm allowing it to be out in the world that is a possibility, Sierra. I don't think I will, because I do enjoy Regulation F, but I'm going to allow it as a possibility.
I'm just gonna say, like, I've been trying to be a little bit more positive in my life, but I'm gonna put that aside for right here, right now, because I really do think that people just forgot how boring Regulation F was the first like time around. I think people, it's always a thing where you're playing the format and you don't enjoy it, and then it's gone, and then you're like, oh man, I actually like, maybe I missed it, like, etc. I
Yep.
think we're at a point in this current meta when the pull happened that people were kind of bored of this. See the Raging Bolt and the Gouging Fire, these other fun things that we don't have. And then voted for it. I think if we had any other current regulation that when the power level is different, etc., like if we were playing Regulation I right now, I was a Worlds format, I get them all mixed up. If we're playing Regulation I believe Regulation C would have won in a heartbeat. But
That's
because we're playing something that doesn't have those big bad Pokemon, that people wanted them back. I don't actually think the format is that fun. I think Calm Mind Lefty's Raging Bolt was so boring. I think there is other parts of the game that was just not necessarily really enjoyable. I felt like balance parts were just not fun of it. The Ogre Pond, like with the critical hit chance, people want to talk about Dire Claw being bad. The fact that Ivy Cudgel can always just has an increased crit isn't necessarily that fun either. Like, I think there was a lot of parts of the format that were just kind of unfun the first time around to play. And you could say in Regulation C that, like, the Treasures of Ruin are a little bit strong and stuff. But again, like the Flutter Mane usage, because I know that's what you talked about, was really high. But again, I equate Flutter Mane to how Incineroar is. It's not like people are building a team around Incineroar. People aren't building a team around Flutter Mane. You put it on a team because it's the best Pokemon.
It's a glue piece, yeah.
Yeah. So it's naturally going to have a higher usage than like Raging Bolt. But Raging Bolt and all the teams are at, you're seeing Raging Bolt, you're seeing the double fake out, you see the train, you see the lefties, or you get the photosynthesis off of something with the booster energy and you're doing oodles of damage and you can't get KO'd. And it created a really unfun game personally to me.
Yeah, I think one of the damning things for Regulation F was when we casted in Vancouver the James and Brady finals, right, where Brady's Raging Bolt got taken down to I think 2 HP, and through leftovers and protecting grassy terrain recovered all the way back to full HP in the same match. I think that is, if you show people that, they can say, okay, this is a little bit of a problem. But where you see the Ogre-Pons as a negative, I see those as a positive. As I think all the Ogre-Pons are very versatile. Besides Hearthflame, and even Hearthflame has the utility of Follow Me, but like the other three really are more defensive pieces on teams. Where Sneasler's not really defensive, so in the justification of the Ivy Cudgel crits versus the Dire Claw statuses, right? Like, I like Wellspring and the other versions that are more, the other Ogre-Pons that are more defensive. Like, I think that helps with team building and strategy. And obviously, it's one of the answers into Urshifu, which is another big problem from Regulation F, which is how good Torn Urshi is. So I'm not saying it's a perfect format in any stretch. It's just like, if you're asking, would I rather, like, and obviously the Ting Lu Fissure strats were not all of Reg C. You know, like, I memed on it in the debate. Like, that was only a small portion of it. But if you're asking me, would I rather the Calm Mind Raging Bolts and the Torn Urshis and the Chien Pao Dragonite E-Speed strats versus Ting Lu sitting there forever and the Dondozo teams, like, in my biased perspective, since I did vote for Regulation F, yes, I would. I'm choosing between two frustrations, and I'm going to choose the one that I think that is more offensive. You know what I mean?
I mean, the thing is, too, is like we went from talking so much, I hate like Urshifu, etc. So then voting for a format that has it, like I'm just pulling up EUIC last year, okay? So we get top 8 and we have 5 Urshifu. Okay. Then we get down into the 9th on. Urshifu, 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 Urshifu. No Urshifu, because you have Galarian Zapdos. Urshifu, 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 Urshifu. None. Urshifu, Dozo. Like, did we forget about this? Frankly, like, did we just forget that we do not like Urshifu either? And again, because we're at a lower power level format, so people are like, oh no, I want the big tools again, that they just voted for this. And like, this was just, I'm looking at these teams and these were just unfun. Like, you had the nonstop like Incineroar and Urshifu, so you can't protect past the Faco because you just get blown up by Urshifu. It was every single team, every single one of these Urshifu teams minus a handful has Incineroar because it's the same thing, right? Like, it was just so unfun to play. I don't know. Like, I really think the only reason this won't happen is because people will not admit it. But I think we're going to get our first event back in this regulation, and everyone who voted Regulation F is going to realize they made a mistake. And the only reason people will not say otherwise is because they're being stubborn. I personally think as a community, we messed up. And I think that we should have had Regulation C back.
I honestly, I think you bring up a really good point about how it's not just what we were voting for, it's when we were, and the fact that Regulation H was a low power format, so people wanted something different. And not to get political here, so I won't, but like, that does reflect real life too as well in polls, right? Some people just want a change of direction or a swing from A to B. You see it in sports all the time too. If you have a very hands-on, aggressive, like super macho head coach or manager or something, and then they fire that guy, oftentimes the next manager they'll bring in will be a more reserved or more calm or more analytic person to change the culture around it. So I do think that's a really good point that you brought up, that it was we were playing Reg H that people wanted, especially because it was more low power and more defensive at the time, that people wanted to hit more offensive things with Thunderclap and Extreme Speed and Surging Strikes and stuff. Like, I think the only thing that makes me think that people won't regret it for the most part is Twitter. The Twitter poll was very close. I do think Regulation C ended up winning in the Twitter poll, but YouTube and Instagram, it might as well have been like there was only one choice. Like, it was vastly more popular on YouTube and Instagram by a considerable margin for Regulation F compared to C. So that's why I think that most of we kind of live in our bubble, right? Our VGC Twitter bubble, but like, we have to think about the viewers that saw that post on YouTube or whatever, the people that see the news on Instagram. Like, the general audience that watches VGC events also determined that they would prefer to watch Reg F over Reg C.
I think they also forgot because people hated watching the format when we were in said format.
I don't agree with that. I don't agree that.
No, I think you look at the casual viewer base, they hate Urshifu. They hated Raging Bolt. People just forget.
I don't disagree. I do think Raging Bolt is a little overblown, as we talked about in the debate episode. Like, its usage was nowhere near as high as everyone is pretending it was. It was not Urshifu usage. It was not Reg C Fluttermane usage of hitting 78% at different events. Like, it was very, very strong. Like, even if it wasn't the highest usage, it was probably inarguably the strongest Pokemon in the format. I don't disagree with that. But I don't know. To me, I guess we'll just have to wait till Toronto to find out who's right.
I mean, yeah, I feel like the Raging Bolt is the easiest one to be bringing up, but like, bringing up the Urshifu, like, the Urshifu is always just annoying every single time. Like, I don't know. Like, I'm looking back at the EUIC VOD, Raging Bolt balance mirrors are an absolute snoo fest. Thank God we have restricted format now. Like, questions like stuff like this, just like, I don't know, like, and I casted one of those mirrors too, where I had a whiteboard to like track every single combine boost. Like, I don't know, man. Like,
We'll
man,
see people come up with counters,
sad.
though. Maybe there's more haze out there. Maybe there's some more snarls or something. That's how the metagame has to develop in some way, right? Like, people are going to have to come up with responses to the Combine Raging Bolt.
Nah, I'm just sad. I'm just sad. To make everyone else feel sad too, assuming that people care about me and my struggles, is I have had my beautiful, wonderful Reg C Slitherwing Sun team still in my game, even though, and this was before the poll, even though I knew we were never going back to Regulation C, but I've still held on to this team just in case. I don't know why, because logic says that I shouldn't have, but just in case something changed and something happened. And then they put out this stupid Twitter poll.
And then the Regulation F Fire Nation attack.
And yeah, there was a chance. There was an opportunity. This Reg C team, which the rental is still up. Like, the rental is up, the team is together, it's still in the battle box. It's the only team I haven't removed. Because I just hoped that I got to play it again one day. And for a moment in my life, there was hope. There was a light.
And
these Reg C and these Reg F enjoyers who are going to hate the format after the first event took that from me.
You're telling me that Slitherling doesn't do so hot into Torn Urshi, Sierra? Is that what you're saying?
It's a rough time. It's a rough time.
I listen. I understand your plight. I don't want to downplay it, but you know, this is what democracy. These are the pros and cons. This is what is brought when you allow the people's voices to be heard. You're not always going to be aligned with the most popular decision.
They should have just let me decide.
Honestly, facts.
They should have just let me decide. But yeah, that's it. So now I'm on a mission to try and find a Regulation F Slitherwing team that I like. And it's not been going well either. So I'm just having a rough time out here. GG's.
Why couldn't you just chose like Iron Hands as your favorite paradox or something? Like, you know what I mean? You ever think about like some of our issues are our own demise, like me liking Armarouge or you liking Slitherling. Like, I could have just said Gholdengo was my favorite Scarlet Violet Pokemon. You could have chose Iron Hands or Fluttermane as your favorite paradox. This is partly on us as well, Sierra.
I mean, except the difference is I'll roll up to events with good Pokemon. I just don't have fun.
No, I 100% am with you there. Yeah.
Yeah. So, yeah, that's how I feel about Regulation F. So, yeah, I'm sad. I also, in laddering and best of one closed team sheet, I have a Whimsicott. They have a Whimsicott. This is just a best of one closed team sheet issue. I have a Whimsicott. They have a Whimsicott. Logic dictates I should probably Tailwind, because they're going to Tailwind, right?
Yeah.
I Tailwind. They switch out a Pokemon. They Trick Room. They Trick Roomed. They Trick Roomed Whimsicott! Yeah. Still not over that.
Oh my god. I would have, that table would have had a fist-sized hole in it if someone Trick Room Whimsicott against me.
Yeah, like, what is that? Yep. So that is... Yep. That's how it's going for my world, in case anyone was curious. So,
well, yeah. I hope we can make you feel a little better. We can brighten your day here at the end of the pod with our question of the week.
I guess.
All right. So there's a couple of options here if you want to take a look. We are definitely not choosing LebanonDon's question. That is outrageous. But there are some other...
What the? All right, yeah, no.
Also want to state, by the way, LebanonDon did not bring Slitherwing against me in our draft league when he specifically asked you for advice during the episode 100, Q&A. So
I forgot.
So that's 2 strikes, Don. This question of the week that you asked, and then also not for you, Slitherwing. So are there any?
And if you want to see what question was asked, you can join the Discord and look at the questions of the week channel.
Oh my goodness! Is there a specific one you'd like? Because I think there's multiple good options here. I kind of like J-Dogs. If you have an answer or not.
I kind of like Moggies.
Okay, hold on, wait. All right, you know what? We'll go with both then, just to make everyone feel better about it. Okay. So, if you've made it to the end of the podcast, we end every episode with our question of the week. If you ever have any burning questions you'd love to ask Sierra and myself, make sure you join our Discord and type them in our question of the week channel. We're going to do 2 this week just for the fun of it. First one up, our guy, Moggy, who went viral with his Gholdengo cosplay.
So good, by the way.
So awesome. It was absolutely amazing. So, Moggy asked whether it be the... Wait, hold on, wait. Why am I missing it? Whether it be extra mile of the TL sticker, extra events tied together. Wait, no. Am I reading the wrong one? Is that not it?
Oh, it was Moggy replying to Flame G's question.
Oh, apologies. Sorry about that, Flame G. So, first question is Flame G. What's the most memorable local you've been to?
All right. You want to start with this one?
Yeah, I think for me, there was a tournament that back in Brooklyn in the 2015 season that I got top 16 at with like a really I had a Mega Charizard X, which was not as popular as Y, obviously, and there was no open team sheet. So most people, when they saw the Charizard in game, thought it was going to be Char Y, and then I would just, I would turn it to Charizard X and hit them with a Flare Blitz or a Dragon Claw or something, and they weren't expecting it. That was fun. I had Choice Scarf Latios with Ice Beam to deal with the Choice Scarf Landorus's that were rampant in that form. And I remember that was actually one of the first times I ever talked to Justin Karras, because I played him in a match and I caught his Landorus with that Scarf Latios, and he was like, "That was a really nice set. Like, you have a really fun team." And then we became more friendly after that. He still beat me in that round, but like he still gave me credit there. And my whole team was named after Studio Ghibli Hayao Miyazaki characters. So like the Charizard was Mononoke and different things. So I got a lot of compliments for my nicknames back then. So that was one of the first times that I like performed well at a local back in the day, and to this day it still is a fond memory.
I forgot to tell you, by the way, my nickname theme for LAIC.
Tell me.
Was twice.
Yes.
Yeah. All right. Do we derail so I can tell you the nicknames?
Yes, please.
All right. So I didn't want to do the members because there's 9 members and only 6 on the team. So I did song names instead, which I thought was then really fun.
Yeah.
So again, I played the Tang team. So Grimmsnarl, Dragonite, or Chaladon, Gholdengo, Lursa, and Volk. So one thing I was super keen on was after the first name, I was like, ooh, I picked an all caps name. So aesthetic wise, all of these now have to be all caps, which limited some of the names that I could do. All right. Keep that in mind from the start. Do you want to guess them, or do you want to guess each Pokemon, or do you want me to just tell you?
No, I think because it's too hard for me to guess, like with the different names and stuff. I think it's easier.
I don't know. I think they all made sense. I was cooking here, but okay. So Grimmsnarl was scientist.
Okay. Yep.
Yeah, I don't know. Looks like a scientist.
Yep.
Archaludon was Knock Knock because you hit it for the stamina boosts, right? So it's Knock Knock.
I get that. I like that.
Blursa was Takedown.
Yeah, very accurate. Yes.
The Volcarona one, I picked Bloom. I don't know. I looked at Volcarona. I was like, oh, this is cute. Like it just kind of like made sense. Like Bloom because it's like the wings.
Okay, I respect it.
Yeah, I mean, again, like
I was thinking feel special for Volcarona as like a big special attacker or something like that.
Oh, this one wasn't Quiver Dance. So
oh, right. Yep.
Plus, feel special isn't all capitals because again, that was the one restriction of like I really wanted it to be all caps for all of them.
Yeah.
try and guess what the Gholdengo is. All caps name. You know this song, one of their most popular.
Honestly, like Make It Rain, Good as Gold. I'm trying to. I don't know. I'm just really blanking. I mean, I love Twice. I don't know. I'm thinking of because now I'm thinking of all caps songs.
We did
like
Fancy.
Love it. Absolutely love it.
Yeah.
Chef's Kiss. Perfect name.
Yeah. And then Dragonite was Set Me Free. Because you do the scale shot and he like defense drops and then he's going faster. He's being set free.
I like that. You cooked here.
Yeah. I feel like I put more effort into these nicknames than I did preparing for the tournament, which like
honestly respect.
It tells you all you need to know about my tournament run, if you weren't paying attention before. But yeah, I think it was good.
Now, what was your most memorable local? If we get back on track.
It's really funny that I said I like this question, because then when I was thinking of the answer to this, kind of been blanking.
It could be from either game. If you played a TCG local that was more memorable than a VG one.
Yeah, I'm trying to... Yeah, I don't know why I said this one when I can't, like, think of anything offhand. Yeah, I kind of screwed up, didn't I? I have to say, okay, this one was not necessarily a local, but it was it was a local, but it wasn't something that happened at the local, but instead just shenanigans like before. But me and a friend of mine decided to road trip like 10 hours for a doubleheader, just for funs. Like, slept in her car in the parking lot, like, doubleheader, why not? And that was, yeah, a good time. And then, like, I think we sat down and someone's like, you guys really just come all this way out here? It was like, yep, we did.
Because we're about that life.
We're really training here. And then we did just not do that well at the event anyway, so it is what it is. But I mean, there's definitely been locals I've attended where I've just had like a good time and stuff. Everyone's been friendly, etc. But like in terms of like most memorable, that's definitely one that more so comes to mind because of just the absurdity of it, right?
I like that because I think so many times, especially for all of us, if we're not like winning an event or something, and you're trying to find motivation, you're like, oh, how do I convince myself to keep trying? Like, oftentimes it's not about the destination, it's about the journey, right? Like that story, that memory is memorable to you because it was a 10-hour drive with a friend for like a unique experience that is, not common. And now all these years later, you still remember it.
Yeah. Like some of the car rides to and from regionals are like the most memorable. Like there was, I don't know if you've ever heard the odds game, but like basically what are the odds you'll do this thing? Yep. Then, and for any listeners, what are the odds you'll do this thing? And then they say 1 and 3, and then you both count down and then say a number from 1 to 3. If you say the same number, you have to do the thing. And there was one regional where me and said same friend played the odds game where there was a sign for kittens on the side of the road. And we almost picked up a kitten on the way to this regional. Wow. I think we were like one number off, but yeah, nope, that was a good time. It's like little things like that. Stopping at this apple stand because there's like, heck yeah, apples. Or like, I don't know. It's like all those little things. It's
direct quote.
Good times.
Heck yeah, apples here.
Yeah, you can quote it. You can quote it. But yeah, it's just good times. Like I think the people that you meet in this, bring it back together for realsies. I think the people you meet in this game, choose your spend a time with, etc., are a big part of like what makes the game good. I'm sure people, if they're reminiscing on their own locals, like are probably going to say it was an experience they had, like an interaction they had with somebody or something that is what made it special. So yeah,
I love it. All right, now our second special 2 question of the week from J Dog, and they ask if you could create any ability or item that wouldn't be absolutely game busting but would be VGC relevant, what would it be and what would it do?
See, like the reason I didn't particularly want to answer this one isn't anything against J Dog, isn't anything against you, bud, but like I feel like everyone's like first easy answer is, oh, I want a special type Intimidate.
Please no.
And like it's just like, okay, that's just like, I think that's just like a not fun answer, right? And
it's also like the monkey's paw curls. Like, you don't actually know what you're wishing for. Like, it's actually really unfun and would be very bad for the game.
Like, yeah, so there's that. And then it's like, besides that, like, people talk about changing the freeze mechanic to frostbite, or I feel like a lot of the same things are kind of said. So
yeah. Well, that was a discussion that we had last week because, you know, you and I were talking about the Ice Beam in the finals versus Dire Claw. And some people were suggesting, because I don't like Frostbite and I don't like a special attack Intimidate, but some people were suggesting that if you're frozen, you take more damage. Like, so that is the downside of it. Like, let's say you take 10% or 20% more damage, because and it would make sense. If you're frozen, you're less defensive, right? You're less able to protect yourself from an attack. So, like, that could be an interesting change to freeze. It wouldn't be nearly as broken as, like, you just have a 20% chance to thaw in perpetuity forever. Like, it might take you 14 tries to thaw, but, like, it'll just keep being 20%.
I think I'm just jaded right now because someone after 10 ice beams hits their 10% chance to freeze. It only affects the Pokemon for one turn, and all of a sudden it's, we need to rework the mechanic. And it's like, if we saw it, because, like, if we saw that freeze on the very first ice beam and it stayed frozen for 10 turns, I'd be like, yes, let's have this conversation. But, like, the way it happened, it was within odds. It only happened for theoretically one turn, because that's all you needed, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then it's like, rework the mechanic. And it's like, I think I'm just grumpy because, again, I had not even been home for 24 hours. My travel was longer than I've been home. It's like, we saw the mechanic work in a really reasonable way. We don't need to rework it yet. I don't know. Man, in terms of things to change, I can't even think of anything. I don't know if there's anything you could think of ability that you would want.
I don't have the ability. The only thing I was thinking, I know when I was talking with the Tub Takes crew about the new megas and their potential abilities, is like, I think it might be cool if, because regular Drampa gets Berserk, right? And, you know, it's on my mind because they're building Galarian Moltres. Like, I think it'd be cool if Mega Drampa gets double Berserk. Like, you fall below half health, you get 2 stat boosts to your special attacks, and that might be broken. So that might not answer J-Dog's question because it might be too strong, especially on the Trick Room. But for me, my held item is, I would love I don't think we have it, because if we did, I feel like it'd be good because of Amoonguss and Indeedee and stuff, is like a stalwart held item, or whatever Inteleon's Snipe Shot ability or attack is, but as a held item. Like, this Pokemon's attack cannot get redirected, so that way, like, you can get around Amoonguss Rage Powder and, you know, Smeargle Follow Me and Indeedee and all these other things that, like, that way they're going to have to use some other type of strategy. They can't just, you know, keep taking you have a Pokemon weak to Hydro Pump or whatever, and they just keep redirecting it into the Amoonguss that resists it.
Yeah, that'd be interesting. I'd be curious if that then got too strong. I don't know. It's like
but it is costing you your held item, right? That means you don't have Life Orb. That means you don't have leftovers or Citrus Berry or whatever. Like, it is a very powerful ability, but that's because Amoonguss is a very, very centralizing Pokemon, right? Like, think about how many, even when Amoonguss is only like a 20% usage Pokemon in the format, think of how many Terra Grasses we have on teams and how many safety goggles that, like, every team's always, you know, many formats always has the safety goggles just in case you run into an Amoonguss.
I'm trying to think of anything interesting or fun. I don't know.
Maybe a different terrain. Can you think of like a 5th terrain to go with the 4? Like, if they made a 5th Tapu, like, what type of terrain? Like a fiery terrain or something? Like, I don't know.
Well, the one thought I had was, like, other Pokemon's held items don't have an effect against you, but I feel like that would be disastrous in terms of, like, a lot of coding things, because then how do you do Choice Scarf? Is it then, like, cast your person on one Pokemon, not the other, right? Like, it just kind of gets a little bit weird with the damage.
Yeah, that's like a neutralizing gas, but for held items.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know.
I think it would be cool. Like, yeah, I'm just sitting here thinking about like the fiery terrain now. Like, it did. Let's say just did. So it doesn't burn the Pokemon. Like, you're not statused from it, but like it hits all 4 Pokemon for burn damage at the end of every turn to like counter the grassy terrain. Right? Like, grassy terrain heals all 4 Pokemon every turn, and then like the fiery terrain would hurt every Pokemon every turn. That breaks focus ashes and stuff like that.
Maybe an ability to like negate healing from both attack sources, items, and terrain. So it's like almost like a neutralizing gas, but like instead of like a terrain effect, because it can be overridden, just having an ability effect that like, I don't know, like things actually just cannot heal, or the healing is reduced or something.
Yeah, because there's psychic noise, but it's like, one, it's a psychic attack, so it's not going to help into dark types, and also it's not on the greatest Pokemon. It doesn't do a lot of damage, so a lot of people don't use it. So that might be pretty good. Like, you don't heal off Drain Punch or whatever.
You don't get lefties. You don't get grassy terrain.
Yeah,
sucks to suck Raging Bolt.
It all goes back to Raging Bolt.
All goes back to Raging Bolt. Yeah, I think that's fine. Ability that healing's either gone or greatly reduced.
Respect it. I think, listen, every week, just more and more reaffirms our opinion that they should hire us, because we're always cooking.
Sure.
That wasn't very confident, Sierra.
No, it was not. All right. Well, y'all just got a double question of the week, so it's about time to be ramping this up now. Thank you all so much if you've made it to this point of the episode for tuning in. Of course, thank you for your questions and overall just for everything. We'll be back next week to talk about the regional this weekend, which we didn't preview at all, but we'll talk about it all over all next week about the weekend. Words are difficult. Yeah. Thanks, everyone. I think you nailed it. Yeah, perfect. Great outro. 10 out of 10. Thanks again so much for listening. We'll see you next week for the next episode. OHKO. Take care.